Unable to go live. Seems like you're already live streaming. To go live, stop the ongoing live stream. Interesting. Oh, okay. So, it's going live through the Zoom, I guess. Okay. We're gonna see. What can I say? Technology at its finest. And I'm gonna just go ahead. I guess this is can you see, are you this is the behind the scenes? Check in on our other streams to see if you can actually see the live stream, and you can shoot me a text if you don't mind.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's cold outside, you guys. I mean, it's cold, and it's so windy. I have toys like blowing off our back deck. My son is going to be so sad when he gets home, but it'll be okay. He'll go out there and have some yard work to do. But good morning. Welcome to the final profit planning workshop for 2024. I won't see you all again until the new year. Family is going on break for school and work and all those great things. But I'm so grateful that you all are joining us this morning. If you are joining us from any one of our platforms, we should be live streaming on everything from Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I think it's all tagged in, even X. We're going to give y'all a try too. So welcome this morning. As you know, the end of the year is here, but we got to get prepared for next year. And there's nothing worse than going into a new year without a plan. I don't, subscribe to New Year's resolutions, but I do subscribe to a good plan. So today we're going to take you through some steps, some tips, some tricks, some insights to help you get ready for 2024, and make sure that you stay to the end, because we'll have promos for our software, Busy Boulevard, where profitable companies live. So I am going to give you a quick rundown of what today is going to be about. Wait a minute now, don't move. We're going to give you a little bit about what Busy Boulevard is. That's going to be sprinkled throughout the hour that we have. Some important information of areas you should be focusing on while you're creating your plan, and then also some genuine planning tactics. If you have any questions, if you're streaming in our Zoom, you can drop them in the chat there. If I don't address them during the conversation, interesting. Okay. If I don't see it, thank you, Trinity. If I don't see it on the questions here, I'll absolutely respond to them via email and reach out to you directly. So we'll work through it. Okay. So who am I? For those of you all who don't know, my name is Noelle Curtis. I'm the CEO and founder of Busy Boulevard. I'm a 20-year plus entrepreneur, 10 years specifically within the beauty industry. And people keep asking, like, well, Noelle, where did you come up with Busy Boulevard? If I'm being honest, I came up with it years ago, but the pandemic was what allowed me the time and energy to focus on it. Like so many other people, when the pandemic hit, our house got hit with COVID as well. My husband was diagnosed with COVID. He's still alive. He survived. But during the time when we first got the notice that he had it, I mean, I was like, hey, you got to leave the house to protect me and the kids. And when he left that same week, the company, the state of Illinois caused closures for our salon. So we had to close that. My husband, was out of the house, and I was terrified. I sat on the couch and I cried. And in my mind, right, I went to drastic, my husband died. I'm a widow. I have no company anymore, And so I had to pick myself up, and it really, I'm grateful for the time during the pandemic, because I was able to actually focus on developing this software, and had the time to bring it to market. So although it took longer than I expected, it's finally here. We're live, we're official. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to continue to encourage any individuals who are going through their professional journey and reaching towards their financial goals, running their own company. So let's talk about planning. A lot of people, they're not honest with themselves about how to create a plan and the things that they want to accomplish. So the one thing I can I I have to overemphasize in your planning journey is one, be honest with yourself. If you're not going to be honest with yourself, the whole point of creating a plan is it's almost pointless, right? You have to understand where you are and be honest and realistic about where you want to go. Be patient with yourself about how you're going to get there. But you gotta start. But I'm really curious if you had to describe your feelings about planning for your future, what word would you use? I know for me, it could feel overwhelming, and that's just flat out honest. Like I said, during the time of even working on this software, I was nervous about what I wanted to do. I was confident in my capabilities of being able to execute it, but I was still nervous. People, they see you in one way, and it's hard for them to visualize and see you growing and transitioning into being a better version of yourself. And so for me, it's overwhelming. It could be a little nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, I just say, you know what? It is what it is. I know where I want to go, so I'm gonna, buckle down and focus on how to get there. But I hear people say all the time, it's like, I'm confused. I don't even know what I'm doing or where to start. But the goal is, and I really, really hope that by the end of our time together today, you can feel confident about what you're doing and you can be like, hey, you know what? I got this. Because that's now where I am. I can say that no matter what plan I start, as you're going through it, you get more and more confident about what you're executing and how it's moving forward. It's not all rainbows and sunshine, right? It can be some cold, lonely, forlorn time in the journey. But at the end of the day, you should really be able to say with confidence, you know what, I got this. I understand what I'm doing, where I'm going. I'm confident in my capabilities to execute it. But I really want to know, how do you feel about how you're planning for anything, not even just the new year, but just like I'm going on a trip or I'm going to start this new company, it can feel a little overwhelming and I can't see my chats. But I think Trinity is minding those for me. So remember, a plan is where you want to go or something that you want to have happen. It's a detailed proposal of doing or achieving something. So it really is giving you a framework on how to get to where you want to go. But how do you determine what you want to focus on in your plan? Because there's so many aspects of a plan, right? There's so many parts and moving pieces. How can you just bring them down and streamline into a couple so that you are actually able to focus in on what you're doing? Who all is going to be impacted by the plan that you're creating? Because it's not just about you, right? It's about your family. It's about customers. We're going to be talking about business setting in this today. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. We want to talk about, who else is going to be impacted by this plan that you're creating. But the one thing that you really have to ask yourself is, how much time are you willing to commit to this plan? The one thing I've come to see over my years of entrepreneurship, speaking with other entrepreneurs, it's not that the plan is not a solid plan. It's usually that people are not confident enough and persistent enough to follow their plan out through to execution. Okay. You have to say, hey, this is where I want to go. And you've got to be determined and disciplined enough to stick to it, to see the results that you anticipate coming as a result of what you're outlining to accomplish. So today, what we're going to give you is a couple of framework pieces to talk about what areas you're going to focus on. Six simple areas to focus on in a plan. We're going to talk about your company structure. We're going to talk about a financial plan, a service and menu product that you should have, the customers that you're trying to deal with and that you want to deal with, how you're marketing your company and your brand and speaking to the customers that you are working with, and then also overall how you're tracking and monitoring your plan. Now, I say planning for 2024. That's 365 days of activity, but if you break your year down into quarters, it becomes easier to maintain and manage. But within those quarters, right, you got to break it down into months and then weeks and days of activity. So there's the whole big end picture that you want to accomplish, but you do have to break it down into manageable sizes of steps to get through it. But today, what we're going to focus on are these 6 areas of focus. But before we start, I want you to really get ready and center yourself. I got some water here because this is early. I don't usually talk this early on a Monday. I'm still questioning why I set a Monday live stream, but it's okay because most of the people in the industry that I talk to, Monday is your free day, right? So if this is streaming while you're in the car or it's inventory shopping or something, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. But if you are able and you're sitting at a desk or something, get you a notebook. I recommend getting a notebook for each new plan that you start so they're all separate. They're not overlapping. Get you something that's separate. Get you a notebook, because you got to ask yourself some questions as you're going along. And I want us to take a nice inhale, hold it, and then release. All right, let's do that twice. Inhale, hold it, and now release. All right, you got to center yourself as you're getting ready to go into this next version of yourself. You can do it. I have every bit of confidence in you. So let's first talk about your company structure. Again, remember I said you have to be honest with yourself. Is this a hobby or is this a company? There's no judgment here, wherever it is, because before I got into being an official beauty service provider, I was a hobbyist at it, right? I was putting pineapple enzyme on my own face and honey masks and all these things. Excuse me, it truly was a hobby. Oh, wait, it's early. Okay, come on, voice, get it together. But no, it started out as a hobby, right? It was something that I had a passion for. It was an issue that I was dealing with. My skin was horrible. I know people don't believe me, but I had, when I say the acne took over in high school, it was just bad. And the scarring from it was just, ugh. But I started with a hobby of skincare, and I turned it eventually into a company where we were servicing thousands of people over our 10-year journey. And we had staff, we grew, we contracted, we expanded, and then we closed. But you have to be honest with yourself. Is it a hobby or is it a company? Because it is going to give you some different parameters to establish. You got to know where you want to go at the end of what you're doing. So if this is a company that you either intend on selling, or if you want to pass it on to your children, or pass it on to a partner, it makes a difference what structure you're choosing from the beginning. And with that, there is a cost associated with it, okay? Let's just establish that there will be financial requirements to make your plan happen, okay? You can't get away from it. Money is going to be on the table. Your money will be the first one on the table. You have to assess the cost of what it is to start your company. And when you do that, you want to keep the documents that you create with that company safe. Now, we have here in Illinois, if you're a sole proprietor, it's no cost, right? It's default. It's a hobby. You put it on your tax. You should be putting it on your taxes, right? Yes, you're going to have some different tax implications with that, but then you also have the LLC or the corporation that you can choose from, and these are just fees associated with the state of Illinois. It can cost you minimally $150. But if $150 is all that it's taking you to stand between you and, the $1 million goal that you have, it's just the cost of doing business. So there are just some financial outlays that you have to put out. It's the cost of doing business. So just be set with that. Then there are the fees that you have to put into place to keep these entities in place and continue to move forward. So whatever you do, whether you start a LLC, whether you start a corporation, you got to start it and you have to keep it going. Don't stop it, because when you stop it, it's going to cost you more to restart it. All right. So you want to talk to your professional advisor, whether it's a tax person or an attorney, and do your own research to see which entity works best for what you're doing. I can be honest, I have been at every phase of an entity. I've been a sole proprietor at LLC, and now I have been a corporation, but it's because I have different aspirations and goals with this company. So you should do your research about which entity you want to use to start your company, get that company structure together, If you're doing an LLC or a corporation, then go get your EIN number. That will allow you to open your business bank account and keep these things separate. If it's a hobby, all of the money is going into your account. If it is a company, the money has to go into a company account. And I'll show you, we'll talk about later how to make sure that you're compensating yourself accordingly so that you're not commingling funds or essentially embezzling from your own company. All right. Your financial plan. That's the second one you want to do. You want to make sure that you operate through a lens. I call it the now lens. Now, I came across this across my journey and talked with some other financial individuals. But if you look at your financial plan from a perspective of now, that is going to cover things that are necessary, your obligations, and then your wants. So what's necessary would be your basic living, food, shelter, clothing, right? Transportation. How those are things that are necessary. You cannot, I mean, you can get away without having, stable shelter, but who wants to live like that? And the whole point of today is to make sure that you're creating healthy habits to move forward in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. But the financial plan is crucial in there. The obligations, they can seem like necessities, but they're a hybrid of, yes, it's a necessity, but it's also an obligation. So if you have a house, you're either going to have rent or mortgage, right? You have to pay that. If you have a company, you're going to have responsibilities there, whether it's insurance or your entity filing fees, the money you have to set aside for taxes, if you're taking out business loans, those are obligations that you're incurring to help you achieve those wants. So the wants are those things that everybody wants to put first, but really should be at the back burner and at the end of after all these things have been accomplished, right? So you have your vacations or a particular brand that you want to use. But when you're looking at how you're creating the necessity, you need to discover and decide how much do you need to pay yourself, right? Because you have this company that you are spending your time and your energy growing. Well, how is it compensating you for that time and energy? And then how much do you need to generate within that company to pay others? You can't do it all by yourself. You might start there, but eventually, right, you should even have in your financial plan, at what point will you be able to bring others into your activities so that you can delegate that off and then your company will grow easier. But when it comes to the wants, this is where that self-discipline comes in even more impactful. What is it that you need to stop doing in order to make sure that those necessities and those obligations are truly met effectively? And so that you can move your financial plan along quicker. Now, I recommend you do a personal budget of those now filters, right? Understand what are your personal obligations. Then do the same thing for the company budget. And then when you combine those, you'll be able to see, hey, hold on, company. For my life to function, this is how much I need you to pay me. And this is how much you need to generate to pay the company itself as well, right? And then what you'll see is that the revenue that you generate, the expenses or those obligations or necessities, those are what the company will pay for, and you become an expense of your company. That personal budget is going to fold into your company budget as your salary or as your contract, as your labor cost. But when you put those together and you really start to see, hey, the company generated this much revenue, these expenses have been paid out, we are now at a profit or a loss. I don't know anybody who said, I wanted to start a company to operate at a loss. But if you do not have a financial plan, you will operate at a loss quicker and longer than necessary because you just didn't take the time to create and understand what you needed before you started. And so it's important that you take the time, figure out your personal obligations so that you can start this company successfully and allow that company to compensate you and simultaneously take care of the necessities and the obligations of the company itself. So on our platform, I know what you're thinking, like, Noelle, that's so many numbers, that's so much math. Well, hey, I got you. I got you. That's one of the beauties of our software. On your dashboard, we help you track your personal budget and your company budget. And we know everyone has their own unique financial needs, but you're able to download the company budget that you create and the personal budget that you create. It's already preloaded with 8 different categories of universal needs, right? So you don't have to figure out like, oh my goodness, am I missing a category? Am I missing transportation? Have I taken into consideration insurance? What about childcare? What about groceries? All of those things are in there for your personal budget. And then within that company budget, we give you itemized areas where you can put in the rent that you have to pay. If you have to pay gas or utilities or lights and water, that section is there as well. We even show you how to put the cost for our software into your system so that you're not worried about whether you're able to pay for the tool to help you manage what you're doing. But again, you need to have these things itemized out so you can have a better picture of where you're going with your financial plan in the new year. And again, your dashboard is customizable. So we have like 8 categories, which winds up being a little over, I think, 50 different inputs of financial obligations and necessities. But then we also have the place where you can put those wants, right? If you want to plan for a vacation, put it in the budget. You don't want to be left at the end thinking, oh man, I didn't account for the vacation that I wanted to take. Now what? Put it in the budget. It makes everything come together and run more smoothly. The next thing we'll talk about, oh, the service menu. Look at okay. Service menu or even your products. Here, this is where you decide what you want to do in your company, but you also have to be honest about what you can do and then take into consideration what your customers are actually asking you to do, because it does make a difference. And here is where you really start to drill in, understanding the inventory and the timing that comes with executing your service. And I like to say the time is your frenemy. Okay. It's a friend if you treat it right and you manage it right, but it is an enemy if you get off track. And I don't know, I know some of you have experienced that, right? Like, oh man, I'm late. And then it just seems like time just speeds up if you get off track for something. But that's because you have to be very intentional about the processes that you have in place to help you execute your service menu. And this will also allow you to figure out what areas do you need to improve in your processes to make your time more efficient. And this will also bring up, as you're talking to your customers, what you can add into your service menu. For our salon, we had a rule of thumb. If more than 5 people asked for the service, then we would do the research and see if it was worth us bringing it into the menu. But if it was just 1 or 2 people that were asking for the service, it might not have been profitable or beneficial for us to add it. So we had to do a lot of research. Your service menu is crucial because it is the life of what you're doing in your company. But again, you want to be honest with yourself. What can you do? What do you want to do? Because you have to, you can't, nobody wants to do something they don't want to do. But also, what are your customers asking you to do? And you guessed it, our platform, again, it comes preloaded with over 50 services. Now, I'll be honest, this is for the beauty industry, right? So, but we do have already beta tests in commercial cleaning, landscaping, as well as attorneys and accountants. So any professional-based service where it requires you to take time and you need a schedule created, we can talk with you offline and get an account curated specifically for you. But our platform comes preloaded with over 50 services that you can choose from, and then you can also add your own. But again, when it comes to your service menu, you want to think about the time that it takes for you to execute each one of the offerings that you're providing. You want to think about the inventory that's associated with it. And you want to be honest about the number of customers that you, if you're a solo entrepreneur, can handle in a day. And then that way you can also start to figure out, okay, well, at what point Do I need to bring in a new team member or delegate some of this service onto someone else? So it's important that you all think about that from the beginning. Now, speaking of customers, the most important thing about your customers that you need them. Okay. You can't say you have a company and you don't have customers. Customers are crucial. I hope that you, if you're not a customer of mine, turn into a customer before the end of the month, right? But you have to have a customer base in order to make sure that your company is viable. And when you're doing that, you want to think, how do you treat your customers? There's the do unto others as you would have them do unto me, right? I want to treat my customers with respect. I want to treat my customers like they're VIP. But how does that feel? Like it comes into how inviting your workspace is. How do they interact when you are meeting them for the first time? Who are your ideal customers? How do you connect with your customers? I mean, you have to get to know your customers depending on how frequently you're interacting with them. And by getting to know them, I'm not saying let's get all in your business, right? But there's some superficial things that you can know about your customers. Do you have children? What industry do you work in? Because it leads to better conversation and to knowing that people feel like you really listen and engage in their lives. Because remember, people can spend their money someplace else when it comes to the service or product that you're providing. So what makes them continue to come back? But within this, right, how many customers, again, can you really handle in one day? And do you respect your customers' time? Are you meeting a customer's need or desire? Maybe you fall in the want category for someone's budget, but sometimes you could be in the need category as well. And ideally, you want to be in the need category because that means your customer will be coming back. But sometimes it's as simple as, did you ask your customer to come back? Within the beauty space, the rebook is crucial to establishing profitability, reaching the financial goal that you're planning out for the new year, and also making sure that you have this consistent relationship, consistent flow of clients. You don't always have to offer an incentive, but sometimes it's helpful. I like to say also that the customer is not always right, but they should be satisfied. And if you have satisfied customers that you're offering incentives to, and that incentive can be anything from as simple as, hey, refer a friend and we'll give you a discount on an add-on to your service, or refer a friend and we'll give you a service for free. What type of incentive works for your financial plan to make it make sense to offer, but to also show that your customers are appreciated and that you are thankful and grateful for them? Do you have customer appreciation events? Every spring, we did our spring refresher for our clients, and they got to sample a variety of services at a discounted price for the day. And it was food and it was drinks, and it was just a great time to be had by all, right? They had a chance to meet other people that were in our customer base as well, and they got to bring their friends and family with us, and it turned into a wonderful event that people loved to have happen, and they knew it only came in the spring. Why? Because it's a lot to condense all on one day, all those customers coming in. But again, ask your customer to rebook before they leave, because that is going to help with your overall customer satisfaction. And also, it's going to help you understand how many customers, again, do you need in your pipeline to make your financial goal happen. You guessed it, our system gives you a tracking platform for your customers. And in there, we help identify your customers' top requested services, how frequently they come to see you, if they're buying particular products, your notes about service offerings or any issues that they have, and even those things that we talk about to make sure that you remember great things about your customer, what industry they work in, if they have children or family, things of that nature. You want to make sure that you're keeping a nice little track of your customers. They know you're keeping track of them, but they don't know how. right? But if you take a note of a customer after each service that you have, and then go back and review those notes before you go into that next appointment, it makes your relationship stronger. It makes them trust you more. It makes sure that you have the reinforcement of the relationship, and it overall has a better lasting impact on the success of your company. Now, if you are migrating from another booking system, we can upload the current client list that you already have, and that's at no additional cost. Some booking platforms will charge you for migrating customers. We're not doing that. So if you have customers, again, you just go through the process. We'd be able to upload them. And then that way, when you share out your new booking link, you're able to see their profile create quicker and start that relationship in our system easier. Marketing. Who does not like a great marketing plan? Marketing can be, you guessed it, it can be very overwhelming because there's so much that can go into a marketing plan. And as you can see, everything that we talked about, while yes, there's this one leading category, there's so many elements to go underneath it. But when it comes to marketing, what you want to think about and realize that it's really activities that you're doing to communicate the products or the services or the goods that you provide and that you offer to your current customers or to your potential customers. So it really is keeping the conversation about who you are and what you do at the forefront of someone's mind. What that can look like is it could be a combination of just talking about your company in general, or it can be a combination of promoting activities that you have going on. But I can tell you the number one goal of any marketing is to generate revenue for your company. And if you're not realistically tracking how your marketing is generating and converting into dollars into your company, then you will kind of miss the mark. Now, I'm going to go a bit more in detail on this here because we don't have a marketing component in our platform. But we do, if you are a customer, we help you with your marketing in that our platform becomes your platform. And by that, I mean our social media. If you are a subscriber on our platform, we highlight you. We highlight you in our newsletter. We highlight you in interviews. We highlight the services that you have. We share your booking link out there with others. So we help cross-market what you have going on as long as you're on our platform. But again, your number one goal is to generate revenue within your company. So an action item for your marketing, which can cover any one of these topics. Your marketing can be in printed materials, it can be videos, trade shows, websites, etc. You have to make a purchase, right? Again, remember we talked earlier, money is at the heart of each one of these little action items. You have to decide how much are you going to spend on your marketing. Now, let's say you have a $5,000 marketing budget and you decide that you want to highlight one event that you have coming up. It could, well, for some, that could be a huge budget. For others, it can be minuscule. But let's just be honest, $5,000 for one event, I think that's pretty impressive if you're starting a company for the first time. But within that marketing, you want it to be overlapping and repetitive about what it is that you're promoting. And you're going to have to make a purchase in each one of those spaces that you decide to use. Now, just because you have access to all these different marketing outlets doesn't mean you have to use them all. Okay, so you have to make a decision of the platforms that you want to use in your marketing campaign, the budget that you're going to use in this marketing campaign, and the timeline. Now, industry standard shows a 6-week marketing window to promote one event. And think about it, when you see a movie that's about to come out, you usually see, let's say they're promoting a movie that's coming out in December. You'll see the advertising start to show up for that in like October or November, even though it's coming out in December, because they need that window for repetition so people can hear it constantly and be prepared for when it actually comes and happens. And then you want to continue to generate conversation after the event has actually passed as well. But when it comes to creating a marketing plan, here's some quick 5 steps. You create the goal and the timeline, again, with the budget on what you plan on spending. Then you're going to list out the action items you need to complete that. So if it's selecting a venue, selecting a caterer, selecting again, which channels you're going to use to market. All of those things need to be itemized out. You have to know everything within reason, everything that you need to have in place to execute your marketing. The third one, you need to know who else will be involved. You can execute an event on your own. It can be very stressful. And if possible, I would absolutely recommend you hire and bring on other industry professionals to help you execute. But you need to know who's going to be involved with that. So if it's someone handling your audio visuals or your recordings or your live streams, you need to know. You also want to create your resource list. Now, that is a combination of the tools that you presently have, as well as the tools that you will need. For me, I have a whole studio, right? I have lights, cameras, mics, teleprompters. And when it comes down to it, the only thing I usually need is like people in space and we're ready to go, right? But you need to create a resource list of what you actually have and what you will need. And that can even include the marketing assets that are being created. So who's creating the ads? What does it cost for those ads to be created? Not even just purchasing it. So there's the creation of it, which has a cost, and there's the purchasing of where you're of the platform that you're going to use to get the information out. So you have to create that resource list as well. And then lastly, all you're going to do is execute it. And I know that sounds pretty simple, right? You're going to, hey, we got a goal. We know the steps that we need to do. We know the people that are involved. We know the tools that we have. And now we're ready to execute what's going on with our marketing. Now, you would simply take that framework and wash, rinse, and repeat. That could be for any event that you're hosting. That could be for a product that you're promoting. It could be for a service that you're promoting, or it's just for your company in general. And what you'll see is that the more frequently you do and activate marketing activity, the easier you'll be able to see the results and track the results. But tracking is so crucial. So very, very crucial. One, you need to write out the activities that you're actually tracking, and you need to schedule a time for you to review the tracking and be consistent. So let's say you're tracking your budget. What does that look like? You have your planned budget versus your actual budget. You want to know, what did you plan to earn versus what you actually earn? What did you plan to spend versus what you actually spent? You have to see it. You have to have benchmarks in your plan for the new year. I said earlier, right? We're talking 365 days. You can break that down into quarters. So every 3 months, you'll have a plan versus actual review. But every month, you can have a plan versus actual review. Every week, you can have a plan versus actual review. And you can even go as granular as to days and hours of plan versus actual review. Now, ultimately, I would like our software, it will get so granular that you'll be able to see the peak hours of your work week that are demanded the most. So our software continues to grow on the back end while you all are using the current platform, but we're continuing to develop the tracking that will help you become more efficient and more profitable in what you're doing with your activities. So tracking your budget is crucial. Tracking your customers, again, that is so crucial. As I said before, if you say you have a company, but you don't have any customers, it's starting, right? There's a lot of activity, but how are you getting your customers' attention? How many customers do you have? And who do you even consider a customer? For us, we had customers and we had guests. You were a guest if you came once or twice. You were a customer when you came 4 times and consistently continued to come. So 4 visits was our demarker for being a customer. And then we were able to track who our top 20% of our customer base was. And that was important because we usually highlighted and gave them special perks, but simultaneously, we focused on that other 80% and we saw, well, what is it that they were coming to us for, how consistently were they coming, and how could we move them into that 20%? And so our 20% would start to grow. We really wanted customers to continue to come and spend their money with us, because as we said, you can spend your money anywhere, but if your customers are not coming to you consistently and repetitively, if you're not asking them to rebook, if you're not engaging with them in your marketing, it's harder for you to get new customers than it is for you to retain customers. And so your activities should really be to make sure that your customers are satisfied. Remember, they're not always right, but they should absolutely be satisfied. And the more you track your customer activity, the easier it becomes for you to see those things. You want to track your menu and your products as well. What is your most requested service? That is so important. If you don't know what your number one requested service is, you don't know what your customers really are coming to see you for. When we started our salon, we had a 3-page menu, right? This was in 2012 when we opened. We had a 3-page menu, fold out everything, front and back. It was gorgeous, glossy. By the time we closed, all of our service offerings could fit on the back of a business card, because we had continued to refine our menu. We had continued to listen to our customers, and we continued to see what they came to us for. While we still offered certain services, we didn't promote them all the time. So by the time we closed, we were known for our Brazilian waxing services, our eyelash extensions, and our microblading. But we had amazing customers for facials and body treatments like body wraps and body scrubs. So we still had other services that we offered, but what our customers really came to see us for were those other 4 items. And with that, it allowed us to get better with the timing of us administering those services. And that allowed us to increase our pricing, because now they came to us for a premium service at a premium price. It also gave us better tracking of inventory. You have to know the inventory that's associated with your menu. True story, okay? You'll see it in our social media feed of tales from the treatment room. But I ran out of waxing sticks one day. I was so embarrassed. Oh my God. And it wasn't that I didn't know I needed to go to the store. I didn't close my book. And so somebody did a last booking appointment. I was pressed for time that day, and I didn't get a chance to go purchase inventory. And so this customer wound up on my book. I didn't have any waxing sticks, and I'm talking for a Brazilian wax. So what did I use? When I say quick on my feet thinking, I went into the kitchen and I got plastic knives to this day. And when I came back, my customer, she was like, luckily she was a customer, right? Not a guest. So that was great. But she was like, will it work? And I said, we're going to find out together. But sure enough, it worked. I mean, because it's steel, right? It's the stick. All I needed is a stick. And so I went through all of the knives that we had in the kitchen. But we were able to get her service complete. I was embarrassed. I still charged her regular price. And the service was executed on time. But when I tell you, that was a life lesson of stay on time, stop moving your inventory purchasing out of line with your service offerings, but you have to pay attention to your inventory because it goes hand in hand. I know Alexa's hilarious, but it goes hand in hand with what you're doing within your treatment room. So you have to pay attention to your most requested services, to keep track of your inventory, to keep track of your time, to make this all work together. And again, on our dashboard, we give you the tool to track your inventory. It will push notification on you based on how many services you've completed to tell you, hey, your inventory in this particular area is running low. So make sure it'll generate an inventory list for you. That's in development, but it will generate an inventory list for you based on your menu and the services that you've administered. I'll never forget it. That's one for the books. And I had to do it too. I'll tell you that too. It was always waxing because waxing was just so good. But for eyebrows, I ran out of the waxing sticks for eyebrows one time. And I was like, oh my God, how? Toothpicks. That was the answer. I had toothpicks in the kitchen. I'm telling you, our kitchen stayed stocked, which was hilarious because we offered treats and things to our customers, but our kitchen stayed stocked. And so we were able to, oh my Lord, cross over into certain inventories. You got to be quick on your feet. You got to be really creative. But anyway, so tracking your marketing, that is crucial. Now, marketing, we don't track it for you in our platform, but we do have in our resource library, you get free access to a lot of tools that'll help you keep moving your company forward. And so that's everything from customer service surveys to consultation menus, but then also we do have a marketing tracking calendar that you can use as well. And you want to see which marketing activities are working the best for you. So even like what we're doing here with this live stream, as you know, we're streaming on all our platforms, but our team will come together and we track our marketing activity because we need to see the return on investment. How long have we been running a marketing campaign? What has been the response? How many customers have we converted out of that? So it's important that you take the time to track the marketing that you're doing within your company. And again, with all of this, you have to be consistent. Like you can't get away from the benchmarking of all of your activity. If you're the only one doing this in your company, I've been there and I respect you for it 100%. And all I can tell you is that your work does pay off. You see it every day that you're able to open the doors and come and you see your customers rebook. But there's also going to come a point in time where you have to make this decision. You have to say, hey, how much longer can I, by myself, continue to run this company like this? And if you are not adjusting your pricing and that budget to make sure that you're keeping in line, one, with the economy, because it continues to move, but then two, to take some of the burden off of yourself, you're going to get burnt out. And that defeats the whole point of you starting this company with something that you loved, and now you're getting burnt out because of all of the extra administrative work that a lot of people don't want to take the time to deal with. But that's the beauty of our platform. We do a lot of this administrative tracking for you so that all you have to do is put in a couple of things and set it up from the beginning. And then we continue to be able to push and notify you of what's going on. You have dedicated customer service that if you ever just need a call to say, hey, can you pull this report for me? Can you do this for me? Yes, we're on your team. Okay, so we're here to help you. The one thing I can absolutely say as well is no matter what you do, when you start this, you got to keep going. Do not stop, because if you stop, then it'll start to pile up and it'll become extremely overwhelming, and then you don't want to do it. And I can tell you that when the pandemic hit and so many beauty service providers, companies started closing, it was because they had never taken the time to track this information prior to. And when the pandemic hit, they were not able to take advantage of the financial resources that the government put out or that the state and these different grants and funds had put in place because they had not been tracking and running their company like a true company. You are putting your hard-earned money into this company, your creativity, time away from your family, time away from your friends. Make sure that it is of benefit to you to run your company more profitably. All right. So for recap, all right, you now have a plan that you can move forward with confidence. All right. You've got the framework. You have 6 areas that you can focus on. And I just gave you 6 because let me tell you, there's so many more features of a company, but these are just some high level ones that you should know kind of instantaneously. The company structure that you're working with, the financial plan that you have. Now, with the financial plan, don't forget, this is how much the company has to pay you, as well as how much the company needs to bring in to survive itself. So when you put those two together, you're going to have a wonderful financial plan that becomes easier for you to track and manage. And within our system, it will actually tell you what your monthly revenue goal is, what your weekly revenue goal is, and what your daily revenue goal is to get to that financial plan that you are setting. I'm literally giving you a tool that will help you create the combination lock for your own financial system and future. So when I say you're programming your own profitable booking link, all right? The service menu and products that you're offering, it tracks it in there. The customers that you're needing to deal with, our system literally tells you how many customers, based on the services that you're putting in there, do you actually need to execute that financial plan. The marketing, again, while it's not a feature of the platform, in our resource library, you have access to tools there. And then tracking overall, our reports push out for you, so it's easier for you to support what you're doing and give you confidence in what you're doing with your goal for the new year. Now, again, you got to start this, okay? You have to start somewhere. Don't delay starting it. Do not get into analysis paralysis and say, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. I took away that excuse. You now have a place that you can start. You even have a tool that you have access to get started. But the important thing is don't stop. All right. Now, I mentioned that we'll have some promos, and here they are. Because we launched November of this year, you all. And I cannot tell you, like, listen, I'm trying to really contain my excitement, but we are the only African-American female-owned appointment setting software in the US. And I'm gonna let that sink in. In 2023, these are the things that we are still saying. So outside of some other platforms, that there is another platform that's African-American owned, but we are the only African-American female founded appointment setting software in the US, and we're coming for market share. We offer more services and more features than the other platforms. I know it, I created it. It is a brainchild of mine, and I am here. Thank you, Alexis. I am here for your success. For those of you all who are starting in this industry or resetting yourself within the industry, I've been there. I've done that. I understand, and which is why I wanted to make sure that I was able to bring a platform to the market that people can actually use, because I've been in the trenches. As my friend and I say, we got it from the mud, but now we're here. So we have 2 promo codes. If you use 2023 launch with the activation of your account, you get a 25% discount for life, and that winds up being $65 a month. Okay. Now, again, if you cannot commit to $65 a month, you really need to reevaluate some of the financial planning that you have. But then we also have our influencer promo code that it starts with a month free, and then it tiers into actual free. Your account will practically be free, depending on referrals to your link. So it starts with an absolute month for free, but then as you tier out with referrals for your affiliate link, your account could essentially be free for life as well. So super excited about the brand ambassador program, but then also, let's say you don't, hey, that's not your lane. You don't want to go out and promote the thing. That's okay. At least get your account together for yourself. So these promos run through the end of the year. And I'm debating on letting them just live out there for life. But I know for right now, they'll absolutely be $63 per month, and then the month free with the ambassador program. Now, I know you're still like, okay, Noelle, that sounds great, but what else do we get? Again, as I mentioned, our goal is to help individuals on this platform achieve at least $87,000 in their personal financial revenue. That's in addition to what your company is bringing in. And it's possible, you all. It's absolutely possible, because now you'll be able to really refine your pricing, because you'll have more accurate reason and more accurate financial picture to create your pricing. But then we also give you social media features. As I mentioned, we will feature you in our newsletter on all of our social media platforms. And we have quarterly and annual raffles. So the quarterly raffle, I'm super excited. It is back bar to support you in your industry. So whether you're a cosmetologist, nail technician, massage, barbering, whatever, we do have raffles that will get your back bar stocked. And then our annual raffle, my prayer and goal for 2024 is an all expense trip paid. Where, I don't know, but that is the plan. Again, you'll have free access to our business resource library where we have everything from protocols, consultation forms, and things that really help you with the administrative side of your business. And then you even get weekly CEO calls with myself. I will reach out to you personally because I really want to know, hey, what is it that you are experiencing? How can we help you make your company stronger and more successful? And I really want that to be a part of our relationship. But then also, we'll feature you in our live stream interviews as well. So we're here for the cross promotion to promote and highlight you because there is enough customer space out here for everybody. Okay. And then we also have merchandise discounts that you would get access to, and that will be anything from continuing educations to actual merchandise. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but I have like a Busy Boulevard t-shirt on. So again, our promo codes are running through the end of the year. And feel free, follow us on social media. We are at Busy Boulevard everywhere. Remember, your company is just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets and the more it can expand. So it just takes a little time and discipline for you to get there. And I want to thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your morning today. Remember, your dream is possible, and I'm so grateful to be a part of your journey. Check me out on social media, connect, and let's see your new year prosper. Thank you so much for joining this morning, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Oh, can I ask a question before we go?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Hey, Noelle, it's Alexis.
Who are you?
Congratulations on everything. I remember when you first put the idea out there, and I am just so glad to see it in fruition now, and I cannot
Thank
wait to invest.
thank
Um,
you.
I did have a question though. So I currently use Square like for everything, for
Okay.
appointments, payment processing, basically tracking reports, all of those things. They
Mhm.
don't have an inventory feature, which I really like about Busy Boulevard. But basically, I'm wondering, like, can the two systems communicate, or do you offer payment processing?
Yeah, our payment processing goes through Stripe. So you'd
Okay.
have to create a Stripe account. But so that would be it. I'm honestly not familiar with Square's systems, so I'm gonna say no, only because I'm not familiar. But our payment platform is through Stripe, so you just set up your Stripe account, and it allows you to take deposits as well as full payment online or in your facility. And then we also have all of the digital wallets that are there as well, so you can do
Mhm.
your process in there also. And cash, obviously. The important thing is, I will say this, Alexis, but thank you. Listen, and I watch what you're doing too. So, welcome to the motherhood too.
Yes, thank you.
I will say that as long as you are tracking your payments in the system, the report will it'll push the report to you. So you don't have to like go in and query it. It'll
Okay.
automatically tell you, hey, this is how many customers you need based on the revenue that you established from the beginning. So we tried to be unique in that way.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
That
And
makes
it,
sense.
yeah, and like I said, it tracks that inventory as well. And the inventory is a combination of retail inventory as well as your back bar.
That's perfect. Just another follow-up question with that though, because you did mention you could take deposits or payments in full. Is there a way to like just if I wanted to store a card in case of cancellation, is that an option?
That's a great question. I do believe it does through Stripe. It allows you to store. I have to double check. I have your email from signing up, but I believe it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah, no,
sounds good.
that's one of the features that I really pushed into in terms of at least the deposits. But the storing card, you can do invoicing in there. But the storing of the card turns into like the CPI compliant. So you'd have to, as long as you're compliant with how you're storing your credit card information, it should overlap in there.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, I can't wait to sign up.
Thank you. Look, I can't wait for it either. Come on, let's get you highlighted in profile.
Yes.
All right. If there are no other questions, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. And Alexis, I do have your info from signing up through the Zoom, so I can follow up with you there as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. You guys enjoy it. Have a safe week. I'm not going to see you all until the new year, so be blessed. Check in on your people because this is a hard season for different people. But stay encouraged, get the new year started off right. And I will see you in 2024. Thank you.